So I guess we are live because I see this button that says live. So hey everybody, this is Reverend Steph, and I'm so glad that you were able to just spare a few minutes of your time to join us today. I want to share something special with you today, and I have some awesome, awesome musicians that are going to help me. I'm really excited because these guys are some of the finest musicians I've ever worked with in my life. I've worked with a lot of musicians over the years, but I can say that these guys are at the top tier. And I'm just so excited. They're from all over the state of New Jersey. One is out in California, somebody's in New York. We're all over the place just representing. And I just want to say thank you ahead of time to them before I even introduce them. But the song that I'm going to talk about today is called Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And listen, I first heard this song many years ago from the great and late and great incomparable Ray Charles, who did a bang up arrangement of Rudolph, and I had to do something with it because it was just in my spirit. So it just reminded me of the fact that this Rudolph went to church, got saved, and came out different. And when you hear this song, you'll hear the difference between the regular Rudolph that we all know and this Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I decided to release it this year, re-release it again as our single. But I'll talk more about that later. But I just want to thank first Kenny Landrum, who's on horns, and you'll hear that Barry sax and everything that's playing. He's one of the finest musicians that I know. Kenny, can you come on in and just say hello to everybody?
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Listen, this guy, I think Twin Peaks is how we would know you from that theme song.
Yeah.
But Kenny has been a songwriter, arranger, producer. He's just an award-winning musician, and for me to have him to do anything on anything that I'm doing is just a blessing, and I want to thank him so much for participating on Rudolph.
It was my pleasure.
Oh yeah, it was fun. And then I have Scott Cumberbatch. Now listen, you guys should know who Scott Cumberbatch is. Come on in, Scott, and say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
There he is. This is a phenomenal musician, child prodigy. I mean, how old were you, Scott, when you started playing the piano?
I was 4 when I started playing the piano, and I was 6 when I started playing the organ.
Listen, I used to pick him up, and his mother needed to make sure that it was cool for him to hang out with me. I mean, he used to play for my uncle's breakfasts many, 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 many years ago, and I'm looking at him now with hair on his face, and grown now, and he's just a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal musician. So I'm glad to have you, Scott.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And then we have the right elder. I heard that last night. Mietta called you the right elder, Terrence Kitchens. Elder Kitchens, come on in and talk to everybody. Say hello to everybody. He is a phenomenal musician in his own right as well. And I'm just so glad to have you. I think you're playing organ on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Man, just a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal musician. And I'm just overwhelmed by having him. Then I have way out in California, Richard Lindsay. He's my string player. Richard, come on in and say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Listen, Richard, where in California are you?
Well, I'm now based in the Bay Area, in the East Bay, just across from San Francisco, near Oakland, Berkeley, down there. But at the moment, I'm sitting out here in the middle of the desert in Joshua Tree National Park because I was climbing the walls at home, And
Wow.
I figured I'd come down here, and you can't get much more socially isolated than this.
Wow. Wow. Well, it's so good to see you. It's been a while since I've seen you, and I'm glad to see you today.
Great
Wow.
to be here.
Also, we have Tony Mahone that was playing bass on this project. Tony, come on in and say hello to everybody. There's Tony in his studio.
How y'all doing today? Hope everyone's blessed and enjoying the blessed day. All right. Hey, Rod.
Looking good, sir. Looking good.
Actually, I let my afro grow out.
Yeah, I hear that. And last but not least, I think on this thread, I don't think I forgot anybody else. I think, but the voice behind this song, this guy plays keys, plays what he plays anything, and he's also phenomenal vocalist. And I'm so glad to have Mario Williams to sing this song for me. Come on in and say hello, Mario. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Man,
Hey.
does he look like he can sing, y'all? Yeah, he even looks like he can sing. But I think Sadell Harris, that plays drums for us, will play drums on this track. He's going to join us later. He's going to try to come on. I didn't forget anybody, did I? Because, I'm getting old. I can't remember this stuff. I want to make sure I got everybody. But listen, let me just tell you a little bit about my experience with the incomparable Mr. Ray Charles. In 2002, that's about 18 years ago now, I was teaching at the Plainfield Public School at Plainfield High School. And I had a conversation with Mike Paris, who is a phenomenal entrepreneur and just knows everybody in the industry. And he loves jubilation. And he talked to me about meeting Ray Charles and doing a gospel CD. Ray always wanted to do a gospel CD before he passed away. That was his earnest desire. So I said, "Oh, sure, I'll meet Ray. Let's talk about it." So they flew me to California, and I met Ray in his studio. I can't even remember the name of his studio, but it was named after a fruit. I do know that. I don't know which fruit it was, but it was named after a fruit. But I met Ray in the studio, and we talked about doing this project. And it was a phenomenal conversation. We hit it off. We just were like old souls meeting each other. I'd heard about Ray Charles, but I didn't really know him. But just to meet him, I was just ecstatic. So we talked about the project, talked about some songs, and Ray decided that he wanted to play for my group. Do you hear me? The Ray Charles accompanying my group. And so when you see that project, and it's still selling now around Christmas time, Ray Charles and the Voices of Inspiration, if you still, Voices of Jubilation, I'm sorry, the Voices of Jubilation. And when you see that project, you will see Ray accompanying my group, and we talked about different songs that we could do for this project. And one of the songs that he did with my group was Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And when I heard Ray Charles, how he fancied this arrangement, how he funked it, and how he still gospelized it, it was just an awesome experience. So I decided years later to re-record the project, put my little spin on it, and now that's the single that you're going to hear, Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, I could talk about Ray from today until tomorrow, because when you meet Ray Charles, it is an experience like none other. I will never forget the experience. No matter how long I live, I will never forget working with that icon, having that experience. And every time I hear this song, it reminds me of doing it. So I'm going to just ask the guys, bring all the guys up, Raymond, and let's look at their faces. And I just want to ask you, do me a favor. We can't all talk at one time, but let me start with Kenny. Kenny, talk about your experience of playing on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Would you say a little bit about it, Kenny? We can't hear you, Kenny.
I'm talking. Hello?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Hello? You hear
Go
me
ahead.
now?
Yes.
I think, by the way, I think Ray Charles's studio was called Tangerine.
Yes. Thank you.
I remember. I remember. Not that I've ever been there, but I just knew that. Anyway, when I heard the music, the track had already been done. All the keyboards, bass, and drums were already done, as was a lead vocal, I believe. I don't know that there was any group vocal on it or not. I can't honestly remember. But and you asked me to do a horn arrangement for this thing, and I actually did thought about it for 6 different horn players, like using software. These are all sampled on this recording, and as 2 trumpets, a trombone, 1 or 2 tenor saxophones, depending upon what I needed, and a bari sax. You mentioned it. The bari sax was fairly prominent in the bigs.
Yes, yes.
And like I often do, I just listen to the track and write out a few things, and one of the reasons I used a couple of pieces of software, but the one that is the main horn piece of software is called Session Horns Pro, and I use that because it has the unique ability when you often use samples and you play a single note, you get one sound. It may be of a bunch of horn players playing, but it's one sound. When you play a chord, you now get 5 sounds, and the chords tend to overload the single note stuff. But a lot of horn stuff is just either unison or octaves, and this software will automatically figure out how many notes you're playing, up to 5, and assign them to each of the different horn players if you play a 5-note chord, or assign them all to 1 note or an octave if you play 1 note. Anyway, that's what I use. But the bari sax was done separate because often in those horn situations, the bari sax is treated like an independent part. It plays against the rest of the horn section. And anyway.
I'm feeling like I'm back in theory class again because I'm hearing all this
It is a little bit like that. Yes, it is.
I'm hearing all this musical language that we usually don't hear. And guess what? It feels good.
Right.
It feels good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, Richard, can you talk about your experience, Richard?
There we go. Let me unmute myself.
Okay.
When I came into it, almost all the stuff had been done, but you and Kenny and I worked together for years on another project. So if you ask me to do something, or Kenny asked me to do something, I'm there automatically. But I had never heard Ray Charles's arrangement of it with you, and so when I came in, just heard this track cold, I started smiling or laughing. I mean, not because it was funny, but just because it was so cool, and a song that I had heard for most of my existence, since I was young enough to remember, had just been kind of reimagined and transformed and made into something just like different and kind of magical. And so because there were so many cool pieces already, to play guitar on it, you didn't need to sort of bash away and play a whole lot of stuff and fill in everything because there's so much happening. So it became a matter of kind of picking my spots and doing it almost conversationally. Like you can hear it in the break where the little organ melody is. not trying to play on top of that. I'm trying to just kind of answer it and converse with it a little bit and just kind of help the whole thing along.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you. Speaking of organs, Elder Kitchens, since he brought the organ up, let's talk about your experience with Rudolph.
Well, the first thing I really remember about it is I remember the day we recorded it.
All right.
Which and people have to understand that obviously Christmas music may not necessarily be recorded physically in the season that it was. Right. It was about 95 degrees, as I recall. And so it was just kind of messing with my head that in 95 degree weather, and I believe, y'all correct me, I believe we were either in July or August, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can correct me in that. Yes. And we're in a studio in July and August in t-shirts and shorts recording Rudolph. So that's the first thing I remember. But again, to be a part of something that is associated with someone of the caliber of Ray Charles in and of itself is just mind blowing. And I just remember I was so nervous, even though I didn't have necessarily the most difficult part to play. Because I knew it was featured, I'm sitting there like, okay, can't mess this up, can't mess this up. So I think we got through it pretty easily. But again, I thank God for the opportunity, Reverend Menity, Jubilation, to just be associated and be connected to things of this great nature. And of course, with Reverend Menity, there have been other artists that we have worked with through this association. So I'm just grateful. But it was a wonderful time. But I just remember it was really hot that day.
Yeah, Tony and Scott said it was July.
Okay. Yeah, I knew. I knew it was hot as blazes. That's what
Well, Tony, what can you say about Rudolph?
Well, Terrence kind of brought it up because I was just thinking the same thing. Here it is, the end of July actually, and we're doing Christmas music. And I'm thinking, okay, so how are we going to pull this off? How am I going to get into the spirit, into the feeling? But once we got into the studio and they pulled up the track and we kind of started doing the sound check, I got into it. My whole thing was I just didn't want to be overbearing the track. Just keep it simple, keep it locked in with Sidell, keep it locked in with the percussiveness of the organ, and just let Mario do his thing with that silky voice. So I really enjoyed it and I appreciate it, and and I wanted to do some justice. My bass brother Kevin Parker did the original with Ray Charles, and I wanted to do justice. So he let me play the track, and I won't forget it. So
wow,
the opportunity.
Well, all right, Maestro Cumberbatch, what you got to say about this?
Well, I remember the same as Tony and Elder. We were stuck in the middle of July down in the Philadelphia area, in the studio, and literally sitting in the studio that day. First of all, they had the most magnificent grand piano that I've ever played. And I've got to get back down to Morningstar to do some stuff down in that studio. But I looked to my right and I remember seeing a Rhodes over in the corner. And my first question was, does that work? And the text said, yeah, it works. Okay, it works. No problem. We're going to use that. And I remember saying to you, Dr. Menity, well, since on the original recording, he used the Rhodes instead of using the piano, why don't we try to recreate that? And that's exactly what we did. And I sat down at the Rhodes and started playing and had fun and really didn't want to get off the Rhodes that day. But it was a great experience. And again, grateful for having the opportunity to be able to sit down and to recreate what a mastermind like Ray Charles actually did with Jubilation some years prior.
My God. Yes. And Mario, I didn't forget you. I wanted to save the silky smooth voice to the end, because I definitely want to hear what you have to say about singing Rudolph. What do you have to say about it, Mario? I don't see him.
I believe Mario had just left out.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's all right. Listen, but he sounded we'll get him back. But his sound was tremendous. And I mean, nobody can duplicate the incomparable with Ray Charles, but Mario made it his own. And now, whenever we do get a chance to do that arrangement, people are dancing in the aisles. So Raymond, why don't you do me a favor and cue up that song? Let's listen to Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And this is our new single of this new re-release, and you can get it on all your digital platforms. For the holidays, it's a great tree trimmer and just to get you in the holiday mood. So we're going to listen to Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even think it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They didn't let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Oh, then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, he said, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee, Rudolph, your red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Come on, play that now. Go ahead. All right. Come on, Rudolph. Whoa. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee. You know what they said? Rudolph, your red-nosed reindeer, said you'll go down in history. I said, Rudolph, yeah, yeah. Red-nosed reindeer. Oh, Rudolph, yeah, yeah. Red-nosed reindeer. Said, Rudolph, you'll go down in history. Oh, red-nosed reindeer. I said, Rudolph, yeah, yeah. Red-nosed reindeer. I said, Rudolph, yeah. You'll go down in history. Oh, red-nosed reindeer. I said, Rudolph, yeah, yeah. Red-nosed reindeer. I said, Rudolph, yeah, you'll go down in history. Say one more time, say red-nosed reindeer. I said, Rudolph, yeah. Red-nosed. Come here, Rudolph. Say Rudolph, you'll go down in history.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Wow. Can I say it again? Wow. Even though we recorded it a while back, it still is current and good sounding today. Kenny, you know, I want to talk to you a little bit about those horns again. That Barry sax just hits me hard each time I hear that piece. Talk about those horns one more time.
Well, the whole thing was supposed to be like a Stax record, like a any of those Otis Redding kind of records. That's the way I heard it, you know. And the Barry sax is always the most greasy of all. So you got to give him a little space of his own, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
My God.
Right.
You know, I've always had a love for Barry sax players anyway. When I hear it on this piece, that was awesome. Is Mario back, Raymond? Did Mario come back to us?
Not that I see. He did not come back yet.
Man, I want to find out from him what it was like. How did you guys feel about those vocals? Let me have everybody to raise your hand and say something to me. How did you feel about listening to those vocals? What about you, Professor Cumberbatch?
Well, ironically, because the vocals weren't recorded at the same time that we were there, it's almost seamless. Like they were in the studio with us and they weren't even there.
Right.
What do you say, Elder? What were you saying?
I was just agreeing with him. I said, you know, it's an experience. You know, people hear these things and they kind of, I guess, in their mind, like I did when I was very young, I just assumed that everybody was in the room doing it all at the same time.
Right.
Now, when I was very young, that probably really was the case because we had gotten the multi-track stuff, you know, but how people don't understand how this stuff can come together and come across being so seamless when in this case you have people not only not in the same room at the same time, but not even in the same part of the country, and everybody's bringing their contributions and it all just comes together. And so it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do that. It expands what we're able to do as musicians because now we're able to call on resources that probably under other circumstances we would not be able to access. So it's just a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of comments from different people who are saying how awesome and beautiful everything is, you know, and I listen to a lot of Christmas music. I've heard a lot of arrangements, different covers of different songs. You know, around this time you hear everything. But I'm telling you, when I heard this arrangement, I have not heard not one arrangement of Rudolph that I can remember like this one. So kudos to you guys for working so hard and making Ray come alive for a few minutes, you know, because Ray Charles would probably tip his hat to you guys because he was hard. You know, my poor bass player, you talked about, Tony, you talked about the late Kevin Parker, and he was a great bass player. And I remember it was one song that we were doing and Ray was not happy with what Kevin was playing. And Kevin, he told Kevin about it in rehearsal, and Kevin stayed up all night practicing. Come on, somebody say all night.
All night.
Yeah, that's the preacher in me. Somebody say all night.
All night.
He stayed up all night practicing, but you best believe the next day he had that part down, and Ray said to him, "Man, you played your A off." You know, Ray didn't say too many good. You know, he didn't say too many good words. You know, had to pray for him a lot because a lot of his language was a lot of stuff that I can't repeat. But Kevin practiced, and you know, he was Ray is just a consummate musician. You're not gonna just do anything around him, or he's gonna make you better. So I really appreciate all that you guys have done. I'm not going to prolong the time because it's about 1:30, and I told the guys I only wanted to be on here for.
Ms. Minity, you have one more person in here. It's Mr. Seidel's here.
Seidel is here. Where is he?
Yeah, my apologies, Mr. Seidel. He's coming in.
Okay. Hey, Seidel, how you doing?
How's everybody doing?
What's up, brother?
He's a BMW, a black man working. I see that.
God bless. Yeah.
Listen, good to see you.
Good to be seen. Good to be seen.
What was your experience like playing drums on this track?
It was a great experience. I remember vividly going to that studio. It was in PA somewhere,
right?
If I'm not mistaken, and it was a beautiful room. It was a great engineer, if I remember correctly. The intro, I remember I was working hard at that intro, and getting everything together. You know, Mario sung Ray's part, as we all know, and you know, him putting his own twist, and we're all trying to put our own flavor in it, but still keep, you know, how you had it, how you originally had it, you know, at our new kind of flavor. I guess we recorded it about almost 10 years ago, I think.
Right.
It's been, you know, and so back then, I think, I don't know if Kevin played on that particular one or Tony. But
No,
either way.
Tony played.
Okay, yeah. So we were each in our own, like Sawana just said, we were each in our own separate room. So it was cool to how we all gelled together, not being able to physically see each other, but you know, because we've been playing together for so long at that point, we were still able to gel and connect because of the chemistry that we've had. We've known each other all, you know, at least almost going on almost 20 years, most of us.
Right.
And so we've been playing together for so long. And so even doing the whole project was fun. You know, it's a great experience going out there in PA and just to do the whole album, that song in particular, you know, it was the most different arrangement on the whole album. There's no other song like that on the album with that kind of arrangement. So, you know, that's its own entity right there in itself. And so, you know, it was good. You know, I miss those times of those recording sessions. It was good. It was real fun. It was good fun. And of course, ministering it out. But the recording process was great. I only think we did maybe 3 takes.
Right.
And, you know, it wasn't like you guys must have keep go back. You know, we got it. You know, it was fun.
Well, when you have phenomenal musicians like that, you don't have to have all those takes.
No. Yeah, we knew what we were doing.
When you have great musicians, you really don't have to have all those takes.
Right.
Now, listen, we're getting ready to close now because you know I'm a stickler for time, and I
do apologize.
That's okay, and I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. But as we part, first of all, we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and you know, get the project. The project comes out on Thanksgiving Day and runs till Christmas on all your social networks. You can get the project. But does anybody have any parting words that you want to leave us with? Oh, there's Mario. Mario, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Mario, I've been asking questions, so I got to ask you before we leave. What was it like singing that song, sir?
Mario.
Oh man, it was an honor to first of all be asked. When you first asked me, I was like, it's me? Like, okay, all right. So when I listened to it, you know, originally I was trying my hardest to trying to disguise my voice or mimic what Ray was doing, because you know it's Ray, you know. So I was trying, and then once we got to the recording, some said just be yourself, you know, and just I brought my own interpretation to it. So it was a great experience recording this. We had so much fun. I remember doing it in one take, and I told Rev I think I need to do it again. You know, I don't like what I did right here. I don't like this. And she was like, "Oh, it's perfect. Just great." And
I knew it didn't take us a long time.
Wow, this is great. So it was an awesome experience. I had so much fun. It was such an honor being able to sing something that Ray Charles wrote. You know, one of his arrangements. It was great.
Awesome. And a lot of times, you know, I've learned from recording people, you don't have to have 10,000 takes, you know, because they're gonna find something in every take that they could have done better.
Exactly.
You know, and most of the time, it's usually the first take that's the best take, because that's really who they are, and that's really what it's supposed to be. So I don't really go for a whole lot of takes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've known some people, they could come in off the street, sing something cold. You know, Lorraine Stansel is one of those people. Sing something cold, and you know, and just walk on out and put your coat on and go home. You know, Mario was phenomenal. It didn't really need a whole bunch of takes. So do any of you guys, before we say goodbye to everybody, and I see a whole lot of people have tuned in and are saying some great stuff. Listen, but do you guys have any parting words to share with our audience before we say goodbye?
I'll just say real quick before anybody else. Again, that it was an honor and a privilege, and for those that have not heard it before, please look for this re-release on Thanksgiving Day. It'll bless you, and don't just stop at this one song. Look up the whole album, because the album itself is a really blessed album. And I'm not saying that because I'm a part of it. I'm saying it because sometimes, as the Christian, we struggle to find music that really is appropriate for our beliefs. You know, everything is kind of more secular, but it's good to be able to have a resource of music that reflects the true meaning of the holiday. So please go out, and I'm pretty sure it's still on iTunes and Apple Music or whatever they call it these days. All of those outlets, I'm sure you can find it there. So go out there and please support us.
Thank you. And the project is called, if you want the entire CD, it's called A Jubilation Christmas. And that's available on all outlets as well. But the single is Rudolph. But the project, listen, I don't believe in patting myself on the back, but this Christmas CD is a great Christmas CD. It's a great Christmas CD.
You'll go down in history.
Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate it. Anybody else have some parting words?
I just want everybody to just have a safe and healthy holiday season. Hopefully this will bless you as much as it's blessed us in performing this. Just wear your mask and keep your distance.
Yes. Yes.
I see you, Sidell.
All right.
Love you all. Love you all. Miss you. We had some great times together, just, getting close to each other, friends. And the project is amazing. We all did a couple projects. We had countless memorable times that we'll probably laugh about for the next 20, 30 years. It was a pleasure playing and meeting you all and being able just to be around you all. You all are great musicians in your own right. You all do great, amazing things. I mean, I've known Scott here probably the longest, I think 2000. Maybe it's Mario. 20 years, 20 years of history right here just with, and it's just, you can't, stuff like that, you can't make up, You either have it, it takes time. And we haven't played together, all of us. It's been probably about 3 years, maybe at the most. But we could come back right now and that gel will be there in less than an hour. So it's just because we have that chemistry. And so, maybe we ought to do something. I don't know. But anyway.
I'm down.
Need a time and place. As long as there's a Hammond. As long as there's a Hammond.
Listen, I have everybody's phone number.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I got everybody's phone number. So, listen, you ain't said nothing but a word.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would echo what Sidell said, what Tony said, what Terrence said, what Mario said. Literally, the chemistry, you hear the chemistry on the project. There was no lapse in that. And ironically enough, after we left the studio that day, Sidell, Tony, and Terrence and I had a rehearsal.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We have rehearsal.
You froze, Scott.
Wow.
Scott, you froze, so I don't think we're not getting the rest of it.
We have rehearsal for District, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
we all played together with so many different groups, 4 or 5 groups. So it was like,
yes,
we sped. We got there so fast. I think it was in Inglewood. If I'm not, it was around the corner from Community.
Yeah, Ebenezer.
We did so much together. Look at Scott's face.
Yeah, that's right. Let me take a screen. I gotta take a screenshot of that one.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at some of the finest musicians that America has to offer. So look at them good, because these guys are phenomenal. Kenny and Richard, I thank you. I miss you guys. Listen, I keep thinking about Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That's it.
Man, that was an experience I shall never forget. Listen, guys, for the other guys who don't know, I used to play with Kenny and Richard in a group called American Stories Through Song, where we taught American history through music. And wow. Kenny actually did a lot of the songwriting and arranging for that project. So and I sang. So it's been wonderful. But listen, as we close, I just want to say, as Tony reminded everybody, please practice social distancing this Thanksgiving. You know, we've made it through thus far. God has kept us alive, and we want to be alive much, much longer. So wear your mask, wash your hands, and social distance. Make sure you know it's better to enjoy Thanksgiving long distance than to enjoy Christmas in the ICU unit. You don't want that. So let's do that. And thank you again, gentlemen, for spending time with me today. Raymond, thank you for facilitating this. And listen, get the project, get Rudolph. Let Rudolph dance you into history. All right. All right. So good night, everybody. And thank you so very much. Wave goodbye to everybody. We'll see you next time.